Oops. Welcome back to the next episode of the HellUvaWillys project. On the last episode, we went through and got our trunk skin, for the most part, wrapped up, besides bodywork, and started getting our radiator fit in. I am going to procrastinate on the radiator for another couple of days and work on the custom dash plug, which is what all this foam's for. It's very, very dense stuff, but it's going to work perfectly for what I need to do. I've got to get everything cut out in squares because we need to make basically a chunk that's 50 inches wide, 20 inches tall, and I think 15 inches deep. We'll figure that out as we start really getting in and out of the car. So we're going to go through, square everything up, cut everything to the length that we need, and get them all kind of bonded together. And hopefully we'll start cutting on this thing a little bit later. I'm Zach Leber. This is Laboratory. Let's get to work. Okay, to get started, I basically need to have 50 inches wide by 15 inches deep and 15 inches tall. But I'm going to start off making it a little bit bigger than it should be. I want to do 50 inches wide, obviously, but we're still going to go to like 18 inches deep and 18 inches tall. Should make it so I don't have to worry so much about hitting everything right on the head, and I'll have plenty of room to cut, whittle, and carve down. However I would say that. Let's go. You know what I'll do? Instead of making it all that big, I'll make the two in the center bigger because it's where the console's actually going to kind of come down. I think that'll be better. That's one cut of like 30. That was one. The camera's getting hot, so I'm going to shut it off for a little bit while I cut this stuff because it's going to take a while and it's not interesting. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I realized that it was going to take way too long just doing it by hand with that little saw thing. So I figured I'd try the circular saw, and shockingly, it works pretty good. That was a little scary. We have 6 pieces here. I'm going to take some expanding foam and put it in between each one. And then we're going to try and get the front fascia as flat as we can and the top as flat as we can. So we're going to use the floor. And I'm basically just going to glue from like right here in the back part. So that way we don't have to work around the glue as we're trimming everything apart. Or grinding it or whatever you want to call it. I did it backward, damn it. Now we have the main piece glued together. What we'll do is let this set up for a little while and then set it in the car, and we'll start kind of getting it fit in the location that's going to go. That is going to take some time because I am going to have to cut a bunch of different ways. I did make this a lot wider than it needed to be, but I wanted to make sure I had plenty of extra stuff to use. Right here, it'll end up coming around, and then it's going to like kind of come down and shape in. So like this won't be as bulky. Okay, let's give her a try to see where we're at. Yeah, that hurt. So this is a lot bigger than it needs to be, which is totally fine. What we're gonna have to do is up in the back, or well, up along the firewall. You can't really see it, but like along this ridge, I'm gonna cut this to fit along that, and then later I'll add a piece to go across so it fits the crown nice. But yeah, this is gonna work really well as long as we can cut it without it falling apart, because that would suck a lot. We're gonna have to take a little bit off of each side, which is still not gonna be narrow enough. I probably could have gotten away with just like cutting this down and originally and not using such a big piece, but it's learning, or we're learning, I guess. I don't know. The wind is really starting to kick shit up in here though. Okay, so it's really early on, but we at least have a block in here. We'll get it figured out. So I have a vague idea how I want to design this dash. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not, so. But we're gonna go with, try and do something along those lines. You can see the gauges over there on the driver's side, all the electronics, and then over here we'll just have like a, kind of a flat area, I guess. Maybe I'll put a glove box or something in there. I'm not really sure yet. I want to make sure that the passenger has enough legroom, meanwhile trying to maintain a location for our HVAC box. So yeah, we're gonna set stuff up down here and then kind of get this all mapped out and see what we come up with. We'll end up with something along these lines, possibly. We'll start chopping, carving, whatever you want to call it. We have the main form kind of cut out, so we're going to use the DA now to kind of clean up all the edges and stuff, and then we'll start digging into the center here. And I just broke some of the foam, but we'll be able to glue it back on, I hope. We have some stuff to dial in a couple hours more work, just kind of finessing this whole thing before we can put the primer onto it and then get the glass. put up, but it's coming out really neat. I'm really excited about it. It's a very base model of this. I still have a lot to dial in and add a couple pieces in, but this is where we're at. So the gauges are going to go here underneath like this area, and then inside like this lipped area that's in here, we're going to have a radio, and then we're going to have our HVAC controls. And then over here, I think we're going to put like some type of HellUvaWillys script or just something cool. I do have to add in another piece over on the other side there, like this one. And then we're going to use Fiberall once it's all primed up to level everything out the way we want. I'm really excited. This is coming out way better than I thought. This is like the first time I've done this kind of work. I will have to figure out a way to make the area right there between the door and the dash itself work. And then I think what I'm going to do is somehow make some way for it to tie into the door too. So like the armrest is going to be part of the dash all the way around. So it'll be kind of just like you're in a cockpit. But yeah, this thing is coming out really neat. I'm really excited. I've got a lot of hours in this thing already. I don't know how I lost that much time, but like, it speaks for itself. It's cool. It's not very Hellcat and Dodge Challenger Charger-esque, but it's mine, and that says a lot. I'm really excited about that. It's really cool. On the next episode, we're going to go through. This one took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, so I'm going to focus more on the radiator and getting that fully installed, and then the dash itself, we're going to get the primer onto it and like grease this thing out totally and get the glass on it, because we have to do that to make this a plug, and then we have to go back through, gel it, and kind of make our splash mold out of it, because I'm only going to make one of these. I don't think I'm going to actually have this as like a thing. I think I might actually destroy the mold when I'm done, so it can't have another one unless somebody decides to pull this one out and make another mold. We'll probably keep the mold. Never mind. Anyhow, I'm Zach Leber. This is the Laboratory, and until next time, go build something. See you guys. Welcome back to the next episode of the HellUvaWillys. Welcome back to the next episode of the Willcat Hellies. Welcome back to the next episode of the HellUvaWillys. I cannot talk. Oh my gosh.